Happy Friday, North Texas. We are back from our summer break. I'm Scott.
And I'm Allicia.
Today is Friday, September 13th, and it feels so good to be back in the studio, Allicia.
It truly feels like home, Scotty, like a warm weighted blanket on a cold, rainy day. This episode, we'll have information about resources for students to succeed at UNT. We have a fun interview with a few members of our Green Brigade marching band and an interview with UNT's new president, Dr. Harrison Keller.
That's right, but first, it's been nearly 3 months since our last episode, so you know what we need to do now?
Gotta catch up, Scotty.
Allicia,
Yes, Scotty?
did you have a brat summer?
Do you even know what that means?
Absolutely not, but I know it's a thing.
Well, since you're asking, I did not have a brat summer, but I definitely had a good summer. Took some much-needed time off, watched some Olympics, and managed to not melt in this heat. So that's a win. How about you?
It was good. We had a great vacation, finally starting to feel back to normal after the health scare that kicked off the summer, and so excited to be back working on the podcast again.
That's right. And we're not the only ones who are back. The students are back on campus to start the fall 2024 semester. And with the start of a new academic year, we want to let all of our students know about all the resources at their disposal to help them succeed at UNT.
That's why I spoke to our very own Allicia Washington-White, who is a communications strategist for student retention, about the Succeed at UNT campaign and the work she's doing to help students start the semester off strong. All right, Allicia, so thank you for joining us for the podcast.
Absolutely.
What can you tell us about the Succeed at UNT campaign?
So Succeed at UNT has been around for 10 years, and before my onboarding, it was ingrained in the university culture as support outside of the classroom. Students have evolved in 10 years, of course, so when I came aboard in 2022, I really wanted to bring success to our students, meeting them where they are. So it's all about support outside the classroom, how to access it, how to ask for questions, and really empowering students to take control of their success.
Nice. And you know, I'm an alum, and now work here, and I worked on the Succeed at UNT campaign a little bit a couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and when I started working on it, I was like, man, there's a lot of resources that I had no idea about.
Yes.
Is there anything that kind of stands out to you as like, oh, that's a really cool, unique resource that we provide for our students?
I would definitely say the first-year passport program is something unique, considering we are a campus of a larger size, and in the fact that Student Affairs is able to welcome new students and really present to them opportunities to become involved on campus or stop by an office, pick up a T-shirt, come to this event. I appreciate that, and really everything that we try to do. I'm not an alum, so I came in with an eagle eye view, if you will, and really looking for those programs that really make UNT stand out. And I would definitely say the first year passport program, the Learning Center, Sage Hall, having all academic services in one building is also something that I think is just unique to our culture and really helps enhance the messaging of Succeed at UNT.
Yeah, and for anybody that's not familiar with the passport program, can you kind of give like a brief explainer of what that is?
Absolutely. So it is required for all new students to participate in the passport program, but how they participate is optional. So during orientation, all students receive a passport booklet, if you will, and there are different ways that they can earn stamps. So it's attending Mean Green Fling, it is stopping by an office, it is stopping by some tabling in the library mall. So it is over the course of the first 6 to 8 weeks of class. They can submit their passport to any one of the offices on campus that is designated a passport office, and then they receive prizes. So the deadline is October 16th. So that's a shameless plug out there for that program.
That's cool. It's a fun, like, kind of scavenger hunt gamification.
Absolutely, definitely, absolutely. And the First Generation Center, lots of student services are a part of this collaborative effort for the scavenger hunting, the first year passport program. So all of that is wrapped up into that experience to really put the onus on the students to get to know get to know their campus, and become involved in the way that really fits their needs, because it's different.
Yeah. And then so for students that are wanting to learn more about Succeed and all the resources, what do they need to look for on campus or go online?
Absolutely. We've expanded visibility. So you students, I'm talking directly to you. Make sure that you check out the Succeed at UNT banners. They are at the entrance of all academic buildings. So whether you take classes at Frisco, Discovery Park, or Denton, you can find them at Willis Library, the University Union, the Pole Rec Center. So any academic or high traffic student places where we've placed those banners. You can also visit succeed.unt.edu for the link to all campus services, food, maps, if you need career help, interview help, resume help. Literally all UNT things are funneled into the Succeed at UNT website.
Don't you just love how passionate Allicia is about helping students succeed?
Yeah, she's really doing a great job with the awareness campaign. Be sure to check out succeed.unt.edu to get more information.
Yes, we'll also have a link to the site in the show notes. So students, be sure to check that and take advantage of all the resources UNT has to offer so you can start your semester off on the right foot.
Allicia, you know what else the start of the fall semester means?
That it's pumpkin spice season?
No, it's college football season. The Mean Green football team is 2-0 and coming off a big win against Stephen F. Austin University. A Mean Green home win means the fans got to see the UNT Green Brigade marching band at DATQ Stadium.
Did you know that the Green Brigade was founded in 1911 and was named the best band in the land and the best drumline in college football by Bleacher Report? We were lucky enough to get to listen to their summer practices out here on Traditions Field right by our offices as they prepared for the fall. Our very own Christiana Flores interviewed Green Brigade director Amy Woody and a few of the band members to talk about their favorite band traditions and memories ahead of the new season.
My name is Nate Holland. I am a music education major specializing in French horn, but I do conducting and drum major for the marching band, and I'm a senior this year.
My name is Melinda Coleman. I'm a graduate student in wind conducting. So my major is wind conducting, but I'm assigned to work with the Green Brigade. And I did play clarinet in undergrad, but for this degree, my instrument is the baton.
I am Zachary Phillips. I am a sophomore this year. I play euphonium, or baritone, in marching. And I'm a music education major with a concentration in euphonium. I'm starting a music composition degree also, and then I have a minor in Spanish.
My name is Ashley Thompson. I play tenor trombone. My major is music education with a concentration in trombone, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Sophie. I play the flute. I'm a freshman, and my major is philosophy.
Nice. That's our new president's major, so very cool.
My name is Laura Frazier. I am an ecology major with a minor in philosophy. I'm in the color guard, and I'm a senior this year.
My name is Amy Woody. I'm the director of the Green Brigade and also lecturer in wind studies here.
All right. So, first of all, what does it mean for you personally to be part of UNT's Green Brigade?
For me, it's a community because I was super scared to come to UNT because I didn't know how it was going to be being a music education major. So it really helped me make so many new friends here.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's being part of something bigger than myself, because this is not only a massive band, but it's part of a massive school of music with within a really great university, and so you get to get involved with more than just like my own personal things. I'm supporting and helping out all these other people around me, and we get to perform with all these other people. So it's just a really exciting experience.
Nice.
I think for me, it was definitely a turning point. I started off not as a music major, and I always had an interest because I played in high school, but I think being in GB really enforced the solitude that I wanted to be in music, and I was engulfed in it. And then I changed my major the next semester, and now I'm in music.
Awesome.
I think for me too, I'm not actually a UNT grad, but I grew up knowing about the UNT Green Brigade. Mm-hmm. And so there's been a legacy in my head for years and years and years. And it's pretty surreal that I've been able to step into a role and work with these students. And they're incredible. And they come from some amazing programs across the state of Texas. And the fact that they can all come together here and recombine in kind of a new version that not only upholds the traditions we've had, but also kind of showcases what they've done in their own careers. It's pretty amazing. And every time I always say when I step in front of the Green Brigade, it's like driving a Ferrari. Because they can do everything and anything you ask of them, and they do it really well.
Awesome. That's very cool. It's good to hear, right? Okay, so another question I asked too, I know that, being as a former marching band member, it's a big time commitment, obviously. So how do you balance all of that? How do you make sure that you're devoting time to this, time to your studies, time to social life, all that stuff. Can you kind of talk to that a little bit?
Part of what I had like a full-on bullet journal of like things I need to do, of like I have certain things like, okay, I have this thing to do at this time, this thing to do at this time, this thing at this time.
Mm-hmm.
If you section out what you need to do at what time, you will get it done.
Right.
That is the biggest thing I think is time management. Like
Organization.
Just like having that organized and having that, okay, I need to do this at this time, this at this time, this at this time, and then you'll be able to get it done.
Right. That's a good point. And then as a freshman too, like if you're incoming freshman, do you help like the upperclassmen knowing how to help them balance their studies too? Because I'm sure it's all new to them.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
I'm also an RA, so I'm interacting with the freshmen all the time.
Yeah.
And I have this Google Calendar set up, and it's color coded. So I have my classes, all the work stuff, all the band stuff, and it's overwhelming when you look at it, but you just gotta look at each day, and then that's what I'm trying to teach my little freshmen.
Yeah.
To not get freaked out, because it's gonna feel like a lot, but you just gotta get through one day at a time, and it's way more manageable looking at it like that.
Yeah, and y'all have so many tools too. I just remember that we had paper and pen when I was young. I'm like, oh, we're gonna figure it out.
You had to pick up a phone and call people.
You had to register for classes with a phone with a keypad. Yeah,
it's very different.
It is for sure. Okay, let's see here. So I talked about like with others fun traditions. I know that when I was in band, we had kind of some secret handshakes and secret cadence marches and things like that we had. Can you share any of the fun things that are maybe not like private to y'all that y'all do together that are fun, that are just Green Brigade?
I think one of the most important ones is you'll never walk alone. We're trying like to create a community and making sure that everyone knows like you're not by yourself. You actually have people who are here to help you.
I love that. Yeah, for sure.
I haven't been here too long as freshman, but something I have noticed is there's a lot of like cheering on others, and it's like if we say I love something, like I love the Green Brigade or I love being here, it's like a me too. Like everyone screams me too. So it's really inviting, and I think it's really fun.
Yeah, somebody said that to you earlier. That's really cool that y'all do that. Yeah.
What's really cool for me to see, because I did my undergrad here, so I was here 2016 to 2020, and now coming back and doing my master's, the traditions that are the same. Like we did the I love this, me too, and I'd forgotten about that until they did it on the first leadership day. I was like, oh my gosh, like they still do it. And then like our drumline cadence, the first time I heard it, and everyone was shouting the lyrics, and I was like, oh, they still chant it the same way that we did in 2016, and that was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, is there anything that you implement as traditions or something that you like, a routine that you implement in your leading style with it?
Well, obviously I can't speak to all the things that came before me, but one of my goals when I came here was to try and uphold what I knew the organization held valuable. So this is my second year. So last year was a lot of, how do we want to do this? How do we do this? And a lot of it was evaluating, okay, what are the traditions? Do we need to make sure we uphold those? And I wouldn't necessarily say that I've inserted anything that's unique, but just maybe put my own spin on how to do them in a way that I think is positive and effective, I suppose. So if there's something the students tell me is really valuable to them, then we try to make sure we have a way to implement it that is meaningful. So I don't know. Is there anything, those that have been here 2 or 3 years, I don't know if you've seen.
There's not a lot of scheduled traditions. Like a lot of the sections will have their own personal stuff, and those will continue. Like no one really says it happens, but it kind of just happens. And I think that's the really cool part is that everyone's so involved with all this stuff and making those memories together that things just kind of kick up from there.
Yeah.
And the only major one would be You'll Never Walk Alone.
And that one's been here since the 1980s. Like we play that at the end of every game, and it's a really, really special thing for all of our members and our alumni. Yeah. And I think this. Because we are a 100-year-old organization, it's really kind of making sure we continue stay relevant to the modern era, but also continue to uphold the things that make this organization so special for that long. Yeah. So it really is the students kind of making sure that happens, and I'm just steward for them in that way.
Okay, so I know that there's a lot of really good matchups happening football-wise. Are you looking forward to any particular game, any event that y'all are going to? I know you were talking about it. You got to tell the tortilla story because I got it, but I want to hear more about it.
Well,
anything you're looking forward to?
I mean, okay. So I will preface this. Unfortunately, it costs a lot of money to get us down the road. Yeah. And that's just we have 400 people, and that's And so yes, we wish we could go to everything,
Yeah.
but it's a huge financial ask. So we're not able to do everything. We are not able to go to that Texas Tech game, but we were really excited.
Right.
And when I was in college as an undergrad at another university down the road, we would go to Lubbock and they would throw frozen tortillas at us.
Right. So not cool.
So it was a little bit not the greatest experience, but I know out there in West Texas they have a pretty strong pride in what they do.
Yeah.
So we may not get to meet up with them this year,
Yeah,
but
next year.
yeah, I think it is. We don't always travel is so expensive nowadays that it's not very often that we get to see a visiting band, and vice versa. You know, because it just costs so much to get large groups down the road.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe we had one visiting band last year. I think it was UTSA. They brought a small band, but occasionally, yeah, we do get a traveling band. But for the most part, you know, we're here for our home games.
Yeah.
And we're usually the only ones there in terms of music, and if we can get down the road, we try.
Right.
But I know UTSA, that's a big one.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Every year, it's Birds Down. Yeah, Battle with the Birds. Every year, it's a face-off, and their band's in on it too, and it's a lot of fun. But that's the game everyone always looks forward to. Like, oh, we're ready to play that.
Right.
And that one's in the Alamo Dome, and so it's down in San Antonio.
Oh,
That'll be a fun one. Yeah. And then, I mean, who's coming to us this year?
SFA
will be starting us off. Tulsa's?
I think that's right. Basically, everyone we didn't see at home last year, I think, is coming to us this year. I think so. You know, I will say that if there's one thing about the band, it doesn't matter who we're playing; they are in it to win it.
Yes.
They will scream until the end. You know, they're the number one fans of that football team. They're diehard fans, if there ever were any, and they, you know, it's fun to be in that section because you feel like it doesn't matter what's happening on that field, winning, losing, tied, the band is in it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So another question I thought of, I know, speaking, you know, for being Dr. Keller's writer and stuff and knowing what kind of upcoming events he has, he's going to be with y'all on the first home game on the 7th. Are you excited? What are you looking forward to? I know he's rehearsing with you and things. He's really excited about doing, you know, getting practices with the band. What are you most looking forward to about doing, you know, working with Dr. Keller?
I mean, just his presence is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And then he's going to conduct.
Yes.
And that's going to be really weird, but awesome. Because, like, the president of the entire university conducting our band,
right,
it, like, feels fake.
It's not actually,
it's going to be real.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I saw him at Spirit Night at the drumsticks. He was ready to march with y'all. So
I think too. It's, you know, for an organization that works really hard, like the Green Brigade. You know, we're out here for a lot of hours and really hot weather.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's. I'm so glad that people are able to kind of acknowledge that and to have somebody that's so busy and taking care of so many large, important issues at the university is willing to at least step in and you know, just be with the students even just for a moment is a really special and unique treat for all of us. So I'm excited that they get to work with Dr. Keller and just kind of interact with him on a real level, not just watching a speech or something. You know, I think that's the person-to-person interest there is really special.
Yeah. All right. Next question. How has being in the Green Brigade changed or influenced your college experience? I know you said you're a freshman, but and you mentioned that it kind of got you into what you're doing, but anything, you know, outside of even academics or outside of academics, how has it changed how you look at college and the college experience?
It has definitely made me more confident in what my abilities are and like what I'm capable of. Because obviously I am a senior, this is my 4th year at GB and in color guard. And they're like, we just now got a new director as well. So I'm constantly being like pushed to myself and being like, okay, I need to like push myself to do this. I can push myself to do this. I can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It spills over to other things.
Right. It spills into my academia as well.
Very good.
Yeah.
I think it's been a great way to make friends, especially I remember my first year as a freshman. I was in a news section because I did Battery All of high school when I joined for Ensemble. And I was really scared, but everybody there was really welcoming and opening. And through the Green Brigade, I made lifelong friends that I still have in my 3rd year now.
Yeah. It's like one of us.
For me, it's just taught me how to actually teach people and how to like help people out when they are going through stuff, because as a music education major, we're taking so many teaching classes, but you don't
really know how you're supposed to teach because they don't give you like a rule book. It's kind of you do you because you can't teach like how someone else teaches. So it really just allows me to really work through how I need to do my teaching and how I can help others find their way and then just help anyone else I can.
Right. All right. So favorite thing about being in the Green Brigade and least favorite. You can only say one. That's for you, Amy, too. Leading the Green Brigade. Favorite and least favorite.
Okay. I don't know if I should start that.
Okay.
Then you can wrap it up.
Yeah.
My favorite thing easily about the Green Brigade is the energy that it brings. There's some moments like right before we like tunnel up and run onto the football game where everyone's just kind of ecstatic. And we're not running yet, but we're all like bouncing up and down, ready to go. Some of those moments where you're surrounded by people that, like, it's a 400-person organization. You don't get to talk to everyone.
Right.
They may be completely strangers, but you're all in the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. Those moments are easily, by far, my favorite.
Right.
Least favorite? I don't know. There's so many great things. Probably the weather. That gets hard. Yeah. And, you know, the shade at the stadium is great. And it kind of creeps back as we're at rehearsal, so the further back you are, the better. Mm-hmm. Man, that traditions feel. There's not much you can do to avoid it. You just kind of go through it. But it is what it is.
My favorite thing is the traditions and the legacy. Like, we do the same thing for pregame, and every year you come back, and it's like, oh, we're doing National Emblem again. And the Never Walk, and the first time you hear Never Walk Again. And it's like this is my band. Like, no other band marches on to pregame to National Emblem or whatever. Yeah. My least favorite thing is also the weather. But specifically, like, not even these summer band hours, because summer band is at advantageous hours, but when we show up to the stadium at 4:30 and it's 100 degrees and not yet in the shade.
Yeah. My favorite thing is probably the people, how we're all just here to try to get better and be better teachers and everything. My least favorite is probably like a game last year. It was raining and we just stood outside. My sticks got all wet and I couldn't use them ever again.
It rained all the way up until the game.
Yeah.
And then it was fine for the game, but all of our before game prep, we were soaking wet. Yeah. It was not great. Yeah.
I think my favorite part is the football games. Mm-hmm. It's like such a different energy, and it's such a different, like, I don't know, for lack of a better term, such a different high. Mm-hmm. Like, baritone's super, super heavy, but for some reason during the games, and it's like the easiest thing ever. And I wish that could be like that for practice. But for least favorite, I don't know, that's really hard. I would say either the weight of the instrument or I guess just the sun.
Yes.
For me, my favorite part is the freshmen. I really enjoy all the freshmen, even if they're not in my section. I like when they come up to me and just ask me like a random question, even if it's not relating to Green Brigade, because I know they are trying to get to know me, and I just find it fun because I like helping them out, and I also want to know them on a personal level. And then least favorite, my least favorite thing is marching. I don't like it. I hate what y'all do. Yes, I'm just not a big fan of marching, but I will
very good at it.
120% in. I'll put my whole like life into it.
Right.
But I don't really enjoy it.
Gotcha.
It's not my favorite thing.
Right. I understand.
Especially 6 to 5.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
My favorite is probably the community. It's there's a lot of people, but everyone's bringing a lot of positivity, and it's nice to get to know other people, feel the same way and the same passion that I do for marching band and Green Brigade, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. About least favorite.
Ooh, the heat, especially morning block. Like I can do the afternoon just fine, but like when it's morning and the sun is like right there, it's
your eyeballs are sweating. Right. How about you?
I think for me, my favorite part is performing at football games. Mm-hmm. I personally love just going all out and like making myself look huge and on 5'1". It's honestly amazing. I'm just like performing with like all my friends, and I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. Probably the least favorite, either rain games because your silk gets really heavy. It just like you can't even spin it. It gets wrapped around you. It freaking sucks. Mm-hmm. Or the heat.
Yeah.
Either or.
All right, I'll finish it up.
All right.
My favorite thing is a tie between it is pretty amazing to stand in front of the group and just watch them perform. I mean, they're amazing. I don't know how else to say it. It's just kind of you get to sit there and watch what they do. And I think in line with that is the interacting with all of these students is, and knowing that they're going to go on and become, professionals and educators and citizens, and it is always, I'm always in awe of what each of them can offer and how selfless they are and how much they give to each other, and to be kind of just helping facilitate that for them, for me, is a very rewarding thing, and I don't take it lightly that that's a really important job in their lives, and they give back to me in the same way. So I think that is something I will always be glad for in my life, here in particular. And my least favorite thing is kind of a little more perhaps sentimental, in that I know that all of these students come with a lot of, they're all coming from different walks of life and different issues and different backgrounds and different circumstances. And a lot of times there are issues that stand in the way of their ability to be fully successful at whatever it is they're doing, today. And I can't, as much as I wish I could solve, apartment issues or relationship problems or class problems, I cannot do it. And so, along with that joy that we have together, there's also the hurt, and I can't solve that for them. And, that's life.
Right.
And so that's kind of the worst part, is that as much as we get to grow together as a community, we also get to kind of feel the pain together when those things happen.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part.
It is. But it's also good to have that somebody there to at least listen to you.
And we do, I think they do a really good job of lifting each other up in those moments, and they know what's important. And they start to figure out, okay, this is important and maybe that's not.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I thought I have a fun question as she was talking. Do you have any favorite things that Amy does as she's leaving?
Oh boy.
Anything that annoys you maybe a little, or you wish you changed?
Oh.
Maybe I should leave the room.
It's like supervisor feedback, right?
I think no.
You don't have to share. Maybe something that she says, like a saying.
Hand is open.
All right.
Maybe like a saying or something that you're like, oh, she says that a lot. I wish she would stop saying that.
That's all right. Okay, ready to go.
It's a roast Amy. I'm just kidding.
One of the fun parts that I found funny, because my band director in high school would never have done that, is that she'll agree with us. Like yesterday, or I guess also the day before, when we were playing National Emblem, we took it insanely fast, and we were fighting her on the tempo, and she gave us a little leeway, and we bumped up the tempo and a little bit more than what it normally is.
Yeah.
My band director would have never done that. He would have made us sit there for 5 hours working on the one piece with the one tempo.
I knew the battle. I could not win that battle.
Right.
I have other battles I have to face.
Yeah.
I think my favorite thing that you said was, "Where's my hug at?" I was like, how does she know about that?
Well, we have an exercise, and it's where my hug at. But you never get a hug.
Right. Oh, okay.
So sad.
I don't have any annoying things, but I think
Correct.
I haven't been here for long.
Right.
Not
Just wait. Right.
But something I do like is the positivity and the energy. Like yesterday was it was cowboy themed day, and there was a lot of, instead of there was a lot of yeehaw.
Yeah,
that was
Day.
fun.
That's
That
awesome.
was fun.
That's so cool.
So we inserted yeehaw into everything.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
It's the only way you can get through long days.
Yeah. Make it fun. That's cool.
I'm a big fan of the little snippets every once in a while, hey, good job on that. And you promote a lot of the other leaders to do that as well. But just those little bitty comments, just real fast, a lot of time that makes people's day. Even if it's just one small thing. So I do love that.
As somebody that grew up in band 30 years ago, oh my God, it's farther away.
I know.
It was a very different culture. It was cut and dry, business, go home.
Yeah.
And that is, the learning environment has evolved to be something that's more collaborative.
Mm-hmm.
And I think band is a perfect place for that because it is so student owned.
Yeah.
So the learning environment really depends on the students wanting to create that, so we've kind of had to evolve with the times, because that's what they need, and that's the environment I think they operate best in versus just kind of military.
Yeah, for sure. And then just the last question before we get to the little quiz part, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay.
How do you feel that you impact the students and the culture here at UNT? I know we talked about your tradition, you never walk alone, that's very important, but overall, how do you feel that you impact our culture here at UNT?
I feel like since I am a leader now, I'm starting to make the club more of like a positive environment. Just from personal experience in like the 3-ish years that I've been in it, it's been a little bit negative, and I think I'm starting to bring it back up in that direction, and I think that's like the biggest impact that I'm like happy that I'm actually able to impact.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think for me, it's just trying to make sure that the trombones are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, because my freshman year, it was really just like, you do whatever, you can talk on the field, you can talk when other people are talking on the podium. It was just like, blah, 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 I'm not listening. And I was just like, yeah, we can't do that anymore. Like, that was cool because no one was actually like paying attention to us, but now we actually have to do better. And everyone's been doing it so far, and I'm just trying to make sure that they all know, like, I'm doing it, so you have to do it too.
Yeah, you're real bottle. Sure.
I think in terms of more than just my section, since I'm not a section leader, and I'm an RA, I'm like all the people in my specific wing, they all know I'm in band, and so I guess I'm forcing them to interact more with band than they probably may want. But I've been liking it a lot. I had to leave practice a little bit for some meetings with the people not in GB, and one of the times I had my instrument and they peer pressured me into playing them something. So that was really fun. But I actually liked it a lot because like I feel like it made them happy, put me on the spot a little bit, but it was just nice bringing that energy back to people who may not even know about it or maybe even care.
Yeah. You bring up a good point because you all, I mean, we have our Eagle ambassadors, right? But you all are ambassadors for the university. Like when the students see you, when the alumni, parents, everybody sees you, you are representing UNT and you know, you're trying to get them engaged and hyped up and things like that. And that's a big responsibility. But
yeah, I think the band, if you've been to any event here, the band brings a different life.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody can deny that. The spirit, the music, the peppiness, you know, when the band is at the event, it is a wholly different event in a positive way. And I think, you know, and I wish we could go to everything all the time, but you know, I think it is important to remember that everybody needs to know that these are all students who are also trying to do their student thing. So we can't be at everything, you know, like we can't be at every sporting event and every event, like every gala or whatever. But we try to be, because I know how much it means to the university when they are there representing, I think, kind of the heart and soul of UNT, and they embody it so well.
All right, and just to wrap it up, I wanted to, you know, anything you want to say maybe that to get the students hyped up to come to our games and things like that.
And sit next to the Green Brigade.
Yeah, come sit next to us. Come cheer with us. We got a chance. We'll have fun.
Right,
Y'all have
join
fun.
in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
dance moves, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Just sit next to us and then go to the other side where we perform. And
Make sure you get to the other side for the halftime show, and then come back and say hey.
When else will you see the best band in the land and the best drum line?
That's right.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. You may not show up thinking you're going to be cheering along, but if you're right next to the band, you will not be able to help.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, as we wrap up, I just wondered if y'all could do maybe a Go Mean Green together.
Yeah. We do end every rehearsal with this. It's simple. It's 1, 2, 3.
Go Mean Green!
It's so cool to hear how much being in the Green Brigade means to those students and the impact it has on their overall college experience.
Absolutely. I love that camaraderie and the friendships that grow out of it. And that's so cool that President Keller showed them some love at the game last weekend.
Yeah, apparently he was in marching band in high school and college, so he was excited to do something with the Green Brigade. That's just one fun fact Christiana learned about him when she interviewed President Keller for the podcast.
Okay, Christiana, I see you pulling out all the stops for this episode.
That's right, yeah. We definitely appreciate Christiana bringing us both of these interviews. President Keller joined UNT August 1st as our 17th president after serving as Commissioner of Higher Education and Chief Executive Officer for the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. Dr. Keller has more than 25 years of experience and was wrapping up his first month at UNT when he sat down to talk to Christiana about his vision for the university, his leadership style, and his musical background.
What is your vision? We've heard a lot about your vision in the first few weeks that you've been here for the first month. What is your vision for the future of UNT, and what does that look like in about 5 to 10 years?
So I was so excited and am so excited to be at UNT because I've gotten to know a lot of colleges and universities across the state, across the nation, and there are just not many institutions that are so well positioned as the University of North Texas. Now, some of that is obvious because of the incredible growth we have in this region, because of the economy in this region. So we have the fastest growth in our economy and in our population here in the DFW region for the most dynamic state in the nation. But there's something even more than that for UNT, and that's the people. And so whether we're talking about the chancellor, we're talking about the board leadership, the deans, the faculty leaders I've met, students I've met, there's an openness to innovation. Deep in our DNA is a commitment to creativity and creative problem solving and openness to doing things differently that you just don't find that many other places. So we are in an incredibly dynamic time with a changing expectations from higher education. We need to educate many more people to higher standards than we've ever achieved before. And we need public universities to step up and take responsibility for our talent problems. UNT is willing to change, and we're willing to lead. And that, again, is something that distinguishes UNT from a lot of other colleges and universities across the state and across the nation.
Absolutely. All right. So as we're getting to know you, can you describe your leadership style when you're working with your faculty, your staff, your cabinet?
So it's hard for me to describe my own leadership style. We might have to talk to some of my colleagues about what my leadership style and working with me is like. In all cases, I can promise it's not boring.
Right.
So when I'm putting a leadership team together, one of the most important things to me is to have folks on the team who are good at things I'm not good at, to have a complementary set of skills, different perspectives that we can bring together, and we work really hard. We move fast. We have a lot of fun doing it. This is incredible to have the opportunity to do this work. And I really believe that we have a responsibility to take our talents and work on the world and try to do as well as we can. When folks ask me about, so what do you look for in a leadership team, or how do you evaluate your team? There's basically three things. So first, you need to be really competent. You need to have the skills to do the job. And then the second thing is you've got to be able to fit into the kind of team I just described. You've got to be able to be a good colleague. You've got to be able to be hard on the ideas and really supportive of your colleagues in this kind of high-performing, fast-moving work. And then there's a third thing that I think is really important, and that's the ambition for the work, right? So you need to get up every morning thinking about, how do we do this work better? And that's, to me, a really essential element to having a successful team, is people who are really committed to continually pushing, continually improving, continually asking the question of how we can do the work better.
Right. Absolutely. Can you talk a little bit as to why you expanded and what your thought was behind expanding the membership of the President's Cabinet?
So just like with my leadership team, where I feel like it's important to have people who have different perspectives, bring different skills to the table, on my cabinet, I wanted to have diversity of views. I wanted to have people who have different kinds of experiences, different kinds of roles in the university, not just administrators and vice presidents. So it was important to me to add deans, to add faculty, to add staff, and to add students into the mix. So now we have already had our first couple of meetings with the expanded cabinet, and I have to say, I think it's a much more productive, it's a much more fun conversation when you have these other views at the table as we're talking about the future of the university, as we're talking about our strategic priorities and where we need to go.
Right, those fresh perspectives really help with the input. Okay, speaking of the cabinet, I remember you talking about a book, and the 10 to 25 book. Can you talk a little bit about that? I think it's very interesting.
So my friend David Yeager, who's a psychologist from UT Austin, has a new book called 10 to 25 that is really great distillation of the current science around memory, motivation, around learning, and mentorship for students from the ages of 10 to 25. So as a cabinet, and also with the deans, with other key leaders at the university, we're all reading this book together. Yes. And we're going to have the author do some workshops for us later this semester. So one of the things that stands out to me in this book that I think is an important theme we need to embrace is the idea that we need to have both high standards and high support. Really embrace what Jaeger calls a mentor mindset. That's something that I'm going to be emphasizing a lot, especially as we're talking about our work on student success.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, so we're talking about the challenges and opportunities that you've seen here. What do you see the biggest challenge facing UNT?
Well, we're a large and complex university. So we were founded in 1890 as a normal school to train educators. We have a rich history. We're about $1 billion a year university with nearly $100 million a year in sponsored research. So there is a lot going on. And of course, I've only been here a few weeks, so I'm still drinking out of multiple fire hoses. For any university right now, our biggest challenge is that disconnection between the way that we usually approach changes in the university and the pace of change in our economy, especially changing workforce needs because of the rapid rise of artificial intelligence. Right. So just last night, I was talking with some of our employers in the region, and they were telling me about how there are things that they thought they'd be able to automate maybe someday down the road, that they're already into implementation of new technologies, and that's changing the way that they need to think about their companies. It's changing about how they think about the workforce that they need. Right. So we have to be able to be credible partners, to be working closely with employers, and we're going to have to accelerate the pace of change within the institution. That means we're going to have to operate a little differently. It also means that we have to be willing to accept that it's not going to be perfect. The first changes we make, we'll have to be nimble and be ready to adapt. Right. But we have a talent problem here in DFW, in the state of Texas, in the United States, and we need to take responsibility for that as an institution.
Absolutely. And you did talk a little bit about our willingness to innovate. So speaking about, on the opposite end, the strengths of UNT, can you talk a little bit, you mentioned our position in DFW and the economy. How are we going to engage with local businesses and organizations to create those partnerships and opportunities for our students? How do you go about that?
I think two things are especially important. First is across the campus, we have some amazing examples of students being involved in internships with major companies. Many of these actually translate directly into job offers for our interns because our UNT students are resilient, they're highly capable, they work really hard, and frankly, they're not entitled. So our students bring tremendous energy and value even through their internships. And that's something that I know employers appreciate because that's the theme that I keep hearing from them. We need to make sure that many, many more of our students have these opportunities. So it's not so much because of the particular program you had or because of the particular advisor you have, but that needs to be more the way we do it at UNT, that all of our students have opportunities for meaningful work-based learning experiences. That can be internships, that can be working on projects that have a particular client, but that gives students an opportunity to learn how to apply what they've learned here at UNT into a professional environment and help build that momentum for them as they launch into their careers. Right. The other thing is, as I mentioned earlier, when I was talking to employers last night, when I've been talking to employers across the state, one of the things that they tell me is their workforce needs are changing faster than they understand. So it's not as simple as just asking employers what they need and feeding that into our programs. we're in a highly dynamic, rapidly changing environment. We need to be at the table, working closely with employers, and we need the employers at the table with us as we're thinking about the implications for our programs, for our curriculum, to make sure that every student that we enroll not only completes a degree, but they've got a clear line of sight to a great job, to a meaningful, productive career, and to a life that is going to be full of meaning and purpose.
Okay, so we did speak a little bit about, in some of the meetings that you've attended, about the 3 big rocks. Can you talk a little bit about those 3 key areas that you want to focus your attention?
So again, I'm drinking out of multiple fire hoses, right? I've only been here a few weeks at the institution, and there's still a lot more I have to learn. And I really appreciate all the conversations I've had with. I've met with all the deans one-on-one, all the vice presidents, faculty leaders, student leaders, donors, employers, and there's still so much more I have to learn. There's already those key themes that have emerged where it's clear we need to take a little bit different approach. And so we've already launched 3 strategic, I call them strategic reviews, where we need to quickly assess where we are, course correct, and figure out what our strategy is for moving forward. So one of these is around how we budget. So the university has generally used more incremental and historical budgeting. That's what a lot of universities do. We need to shift rapidly to a much more strategic budgeting model where it's clearer about how our priorities as an institution are reflected in our budget and where the process is a lot more transparent across the campus. So that's one that we've already launched. We already have the steering committee underway. We already have the technical committee underway, scanning across the country for what are the models that have already been implemented, what are the pitfalls we want to avoid, and we've committed to implementing a new strategic budgeting process starting in January.
Oh, wow.
So this is ambitious, but it's necessary for us to be able to move forward. Second one is around research. So in my former role as Commissioner of Higher Education for the state, one of the things I'm most proud of is that I got to work with the policymakers and with institutions on the design of a new endowment for university research. Texas actually now leads the nation in state support for higher education for higher education research. So the new dollars that we get from this new endowment called the Texas University Fund need to be focused strategically on areas that are aligned with our strengths, but also are going to have impact for our region and for our state. So we're working closely with the deans, with the faculty, to assess where are those areas where we can target new funding so we can accelerate our work and increase the impact of that work. So that's another strategic priority. The third priority is around student success. So our graduation rates aren't where they should be, to be candid. Our persistence rates are not where they should be. They've been stubbornly around 60% 6-year graduation rates. Our persistence rates are now in the neighborhood of about 78% of students persisting from the first to second year. We've got to do better than that as an institution. But the marker that I put down on my first day is we also need to push ourselves to think much more broadly about student success. The goal shouldn't just be earning a degree. The goal needs to be to make sure all of our students are equipped with the skills that they need so that they can launch directly into a good job, so that they're equipped for their careers. So our end goal when we talk about student success, yes, includes improving graduation rates, includes improving our persistence, but we've got to do more than that. We've got to make sure our students are equipped to launch and take that talent as far as they want to take it.
Absolutely. And just a final question. So say a student was sitting here. I know that you talked a little bit about this at convocation. If a student was sitting here, what would you talk to them about what their goals should be for their student success? I know you mentioned a 4-3-2-1 graduate plan at convocation was really interesting.
So actually I was just sitting here with a student yesterday, and
Oh,
we were having this
awesome.
conversation.
Oh,
So yeah, that's the best part of my job, actually,
Yeah.
is talking with the students. And I love that very much. In fact, we're launching a new student advisory council for the president that
nice.
is going to convene for the first time next week. And that's going to be really important for me, just to have a sounding board
Yeah.
for conversations and hear their insights, to hear about their experiences directly, to be able to bounce ideas off of each other, and to learn together with the students. I'm
Yeah.
very excited about that. So there's two big things that I've told students, and I have 3 teenagers of my own, so we have a lot of these conversations
Real
also
world.
in my house.
Yeah.
First is, I think it's really important that students have the opportunity to explore and figure out what is important to them. So I really believe in vocation. I believe we have a responsibility to take our talents and work on the world. So what are the kinds of problems that students want to work on? What's really compelling to them? I see a lot of students that end up sort of drifting into particular majors, or maybe there's a class they got an A in and they think, well, I'm good at that, so maybe I should declare that as a major.
Right.
They need to think a little more deeply about what are the kinds of problems they want to work on, what are the kinds of things that they envision for themselves. So that's one thing. Now, the second thing is a little bit more mechanical, and that's, okay, when you've figured out, well, here's what I'm committed to doing. One of the strategies that is very effective, that was pioneered by some of my friends at Purdue University who had amazing success with this, is the 4-3-2-1 graduate strategy. So here's what that is first, you need to aim to graduate in 4 years. Don't hang out, because you need to take that degree and be able to apply it in a professional context and start realizing the benefits of that degree. So graduate in 4 years. The second is make sure that your GPA doesn't slip below a 3.0. At least a 3.0 GPA is really important for a lot of internships. That also helps open some new doors for you.
Right.
And frankly, it's a signal that you're getting what you should be getting out of your coursework.
Right. Yeah.
Now, the next is something that a lot of students don't learn in high school. You need to spend at least 2 hours, or budget at least 2 hours of your time for every hour that you're spending in class. So students first get their schedules. They say, well, it looks like I have so much time, right? I'm only in this class 3 hours a week, as opposed to 5 days a week for 45 minutes or an hour. You need to budget at least 2 hours to study, to do your homework for every hour that you're in class.
Right.
And then the last one is find at least one activity that you're going to get deeply engaged with here at the university. We have more than 450 different activities, organizations, a ton of opportunities for students to get engaged. Students need to pick one that they're going to get deeply engaged with. That's really important for having community, for having kind of an outlet, to be able to blow off steam, to be able to connect with other folks. So that 4-3-2-1 is a great strategy so that students can really realize the value of their UNT degrees.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy to remember too, so yeah. All right, I'll start with the rapid fire. What is your favorite music, Dr. Keller?
Now that's a hard one, because I like so many different kinds of music, and I had the opportunity to play so many different kinds of music. So really it just depends on my mood. You know, it can be classical, it can be jazz, it can be funk. It just kind of depends on what's going on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, and as a native Texan, what is your favorite thing about living in Texas?
Sixth generation Texan. I have a deep love for Texas, and I have to say, one of the things I especially appreciate and love about Texas is it's a culture that embraces the idea that you can do what you're big enough to do. So the opportunities, let's stipulate, for especially our students across our K-12 schools are uneven, right? And not everyone always has the opportunity to get the kind of education that they need to be able to unlock their potential. But overall, like the there's something about the pioneer spirit in Texas that really values that individual entrepreneur, the individual who takes the risk and is willing to step out there and take their talent as far as it can. And so my commitment as president is we want UNT to be the kind of platform where every individual student, every faculty member, every staff member can take their talent as far as they want to take it.
It's amazing. And then also we got to talk about the food a little bit too. We can't forget that in
Well,
Texas.
well, obviously we have to talk about the food, and let's just call it out. We have to talk about the barbecue,
Yes.
right? Because clearly Texas barbecue is superior. I have friends from St. Louis, I have friends from North Carolina, who I think are deeply confused about this. And so whenever folks come to Texas, I think we have a responsibility to expose them to what barbecue is really like.
Maybe it could be a new class at UNT. Why Texas barbecue is most important.
You know, actually, there are other Texas universities that have had very successful barbecue classes.
Really?
There are. And my son is a freshman in the Corps of Cadets at Texas A&M, and one of the highest demand courses they have is for a barbecue class for freshmen. Wow. So I would not be opposed to that kind of a culture, the kind of students to have that opportunity.
Yeah, that would be a popular class, I think. Yeah. All right. This is a fun question. What's your favorite color? And I have to, preface this by saying that UNT green can be the only correct answer.
Yeah, so I have to say for a long time, my favorite color has been blue. I have a lot of blue ties, blue suits. I've always been drawn to green for some reason, and then especially over these last couple of months, all the blue ties have ended up at the back of the closet, and I'm in the market for even more green ties. So I love the green. Good.
We're glad to hear that. Okay, and then a last fun question here. Do you have a favorite movie?
Favorite movie is Casablanca. Yeah. Now there are a lot of great movies. Again, it just kind of depends on the mood. Right. Bull Durham's another one of my favorites. But if it's that rainy Sunday and you want to kind of have a comfort movie, for me, it's a classic movie like Casablanca.
Yeah, that's good. I love that movie. All right. Well, that's all the questions that I had. Thank you so much for doing this. Can I get a Go Mean Green at the end?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Go Mean Green.
Wow, what a great interview with President Keller. I really enjoyed hearing how he seeks out advice from other leaders to be a better one for his community. It really shows he cares.
Yeah, and it's great to hear more about his plans for UNT and get to know him a little bit better.
Scott, it's time for my favorite part of the show. Let's dig into some Q&A.
All right. Today's question is, what is or was your favorite part of back-to-school season?
My favorite part of back-to-school season when I was a student was buying myself new school supplies and organizing my daily planner with all my classes. It is so therapeutic for me. I also enjoyed learning about all the resources UNT had to offer because we have so many. How about you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I love it when the weather finally starts cooling down and getting into the football season is really fun. But for now that both my kids are in school, getting back into an organized routine is huge. When the teacher wife and school-age children are on summer break and home, it can make things a little bit more chaotic when we don't have that routine.
All right. Well, now that you've heard our answers, we want to hear yours. So email us at podcast@unt.edu or call us at 940-565-4341. The more you interact with us, the more fun we can have on the pod.
Yes, and don't forget to tell a friend about the show, share it on social media, or leave us a rating and review wherever you listen.
5 stars only, please.
All right, well, that does it for us today. So until next episode, we hope you have a happy Friday, North Texas.
And go Mean Green.
Happy Friday, North Texas is a production of the University of North Texas. Today's show was produced and edited by Scott Brown with original reporting by Christiana Flores and Scott Brown. For more information, visit unt.edu/podcast.
We get it, Scott Brown. I'm kidding. Oh my goodness. Yes, we'll also have a link to the site in the show notes. So students, be sure to check that in Okay, I'll go again.
Ooh, stomach's growling. Mike's gonna pick that up.
He's hungry. You know we doing this too early when the stomachs are growling.